Welcome back. We have learned what are variables in our last video. Now, we will learn how to use variables by doing some code. Open the .cs file we have created in our My First Program module. Now, let's declare a variable called age. And the type of the variable should be int, as we are going to store a number in it. This is called declaration of a variable. And age is equal to 10. This line is called initialization of the variable. We can also declare a variable and initialize it in a single line, like int age is equal to 10. I'm creating a new variable which is of type string and calling it full name. Then, I'm assigning it a value called James Bond. By declaring the variable like this, I am telling the C# compiler to create a variable called full name, which is of type string, which means it should take string values only. And then it should have a value James Bond. Let's check what happens if we assign the full name variable an integer value. If I now run the program by using the .NET Run command, the C# compiler will give me an error saying, cannot implicitly convert type int to string. We will talk about the C# compiler and .NET Runtime in detail later in this course. For now, just remember, the C# compiler is a component from the .NET SDK. It converts your code to IL code, which is understood by the .NET Runtime called CLR. We will go into all these details later in this course. For now, let's focus on the error given by the C# compiler. This C# compiler error indirectly tells us that we cannot store an integer value in a string data type variable. If you remember, in our Why to Learn C# video, we talked about C# being a type-safe language. This is a small glimpse of that in action. You cannot accidentally or intentionally assign wrong values to variables, which is a big deal. There are languages which allow such kinds of assignments. But you get these errors at runtime, which means you get these errors when you run your program. Now, let's try to print these variables onto the console. To print anything on the console window, we can write console.writeLine my name is plus full name. Now, when we run this program, we can see my name is James Bond printed on the console. Now let's try to print the age variable value on the console. We will again write console.writeLine age is plus age. After running the program again, we can see age is 10 printed on the console. Now, let's check if we can do any operations on the variable. Here, I am creating two variables, int number1 and int number2. Then, I assign these variables some values. Let's assign int number1 a value of 10 and int number2 a value of 20. Let's see how to sum up these two values. To do that, I will simply write number1 plus number2. Remember, Variables are like containers which store values in them. Now, we need another variable to store the result of this operation. I am creating another variable, int result, which will store the result of the operation number 1 plus number 2. To do that, just write result is equal to number 1 plus number 2. This line tells the C# compiler to first calculate the addition of number 1 and number 2, and then store the result in the result variable. And now, let's see what happens if I try to print this value onto the console. To do that, I will simply write console.writeLine. The result is plus result. Now let's run the program using the .NET Run command. You can see the result is 30 printed on the console. In this module, we covered how to declare variables and assign values to them. In the next module, we'll explore the different data types used with variables. I encourage you to keep experimenting with variables and observe how they behave.